Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2022 Classic Puncher, episode 22. And it's Perry Tour Elite, penultimate race of the season on our calendar, and I am super stoked for this one. Not only is it a little bit punchy, not only is it a bit sprinty, not only is it a bit cobbled, but I have a fitness peak, an objective, and love the race, and ended up with the expected +5 race day condition. So my plan for this one is to go all out. Team objective top 10 or 15, something along those lines. We have a bunch of 2-star and 3-star top 20. Top 20. And that's where the race begins, right up there. So it is time. Cabot is up there. We will pick up Cabot soon enough. But Bodner is going to get us started. I'm going to get Bodner to follow me. And then I am going to go not to the very back, but back a little ways. Bodner, we are going to make this race very, very difficult from the get-go. He is not a climber, but he does have a good cobble rating and a good flat rating. And it is time to shake this thing up. 12 riders still off the front, but it's 50K to the finish line. I want to blow this field up. I want to eliminate the sprinters. I want to get it down to everything except for your cobbled guys, which I'm going to have an advantage against most and a real chance. A couple riders going down, but I think there was also one more separate crash that set that one up as Bodner putting that foot down. 2 stars through there, but it's it's enough. It's enough to put the hurt in. Desjardins at the back. He is at the back to be a sprint out, a lead out rider in the sprint if we don't split this up much during the cobbled sectors. Otherwise, Calmejean, who's not as good on the sprint, but much better rider overall, punchiness, cobbled riding wise, and still a decent lead out option, is the one ahead of me for now. Skinny road, going to help with the chances that the effort that we're going to make here, which in a moment is going to put Bodnar to the back and onto the Os. These guys might be making more than one turn each. I could be rotating through these guys and getting them to recover, as it's a lot of distance to cover. Still 42K. This is going to be the last cobbled sector for a little while, so no split of the field yet, despite the big effort. I'm starting to feel it, but you can see how everybody else is feeling it that much more, and that's what I'm aiming for. This isn't about the red bar destruction. It's about destroying that yellow bar for a lot of riders, and we're not the only ones trying to make this hard. Bodner, that's going to be it. Vanderpool caught up. Cavendish, Cavagna, all caught up in that. And Cabot's attacking at the front, which is not what I want him to do. I wanted him to pick up. Okay, Bodnar. Bodnar's dropped. Big ol' split. We've got 62 at the front. I have no idea if the crash had anything to do with this. It may have. It may have something to do with it, but we want to keep the pressure on. 43 now. And chasing 10, and Cabot's one of those. I was planning on having Cabot kind of sit up. They've caught him. So I want him to sit up and recover a little bit and come back. Oh, Vanderpool abandons. Looks like he might be injured to miss the rest of the season, and Cabot is on the verge of getting dropped, and does. He'll be coming back to us in a moment, and he'll be making a quick turn here. He needs to start to speed up.
There's an attack in the group at the front.
Probably going to have him go second wheel. Nope, we're out of the sector. And we're out of red bar. So how about we do this? Cabot, go ahead and take over. And we'll see if he can't recover a little bit of red bar to give it a second go before shifting off the front. Desjardins and Os not doing terribly well. Calmejean, kind of the only one who's still looking strong, but look how much hurting the field has taken, including from me. And I think it's a 1.5-minute gap behind us. Cabot gets through there. Moving on. Little gentler now, as we've definitely stamped our mark. We've blown up the front of the field, trying to stay away, and they have not succeeded in doing so. He's out of energy. That didn't work out so well. How about Oss? Seeing one rider go away. That's okay. We still have firepower. We'll catch him soon enough. We sit up and it invites a couple of the Classics guys to make their attack as we are late on here. And this is one of those 3-star sectors. This is where we need to put that pressure back on. So Kunin. Oss, just give me your little acceleration. 27 in the group. Oss is done. On to Kalmajan. We have definitely blown up the field here. But I'm trying to save myself by using my teammates. And we're going to bridge that final gap right there, right now. And this is now the front of the field. So none of those guys escaped. And now it's 9 plus 3. We've got to bridge the gap to those 3, though. Kalmajan. It's 21 and 3. So let's shake it up now. We've got to bridge this gap. Ambarl, Perry, Seneschal. Let's follow Louvel for a second. Let him make the move. Save the energy. If he's willing to put in the pressure, which has split the field down to 10. Kalmajan is done. Kalmajan is done. Change of tactic. Kalmajan. Continue to follow, and now let's change it up to protect. And now we ride for ourselves. Front 10. Seneschal on the attack. Nobody else seems interested. We want to attack right now through this 3-star cobbled sector and put a little pressure on these guys, but with the left-handers, there's no chance to actually accelerate and do much to the group, but we do drop 4. And 3 more. And now we have a front 3. We have a front 3. Now it's front 6. Pedersen, Van Barl, Louvel instantly goes on the attack. He didn't want to work together, but he wants to attack. 10K. Not getting any support. I'm not even a favorite. I'm not on the list at all. And none of these guys want to contribute, which means the only thing I can really do here is attack them. Louvel will work, but he won't really work. 7K. 41-second gap and opening. If I can get a little bit, 1 minute behind, that's going to do it. 5K. I need my gel. I need to get him to work with me a little bit. If he can work just a little bit, I can attack and leave him behind. We're looking at the top 2. 4K to go. Louvel, though, hanging on. He is not working like he's saying he will. He doesn't want to work. He won't work. Can we attack him now? Leave him behind. No. No, no, no. We've got to save just a little bit. Now he wants to work. Now he will work. We get him to work. 1K. 1K. We get out ahead, but the red bar is gone, and so is the yellow bar. It's going to be a second place. Louvel takes it. Would not work. Would not help. He was attacking everybody else, but would not work with me at all. At all. Zero contribution from Louvel, forcing me to do everything. I dropped the whole field, and then on my own there at the end, dropped 8 out of the 10. But Louvel, I was catching up to Louvel, and he was the only one who had anything left. I just couldn't get him off my wheel. And then in the end, as he was sitting on, he had gotten a little bit of recovery. Tried to have one little, swipe at him to see if we can't leave him behind like we had left the others behind. The moment I saw that it didn't work and that he was still with me, that was it. I knew we were going to lose at that point because we didn't have enough for a second go. Could we have beaten him in a sprint if we still had something left? Maybe not. But at that point he wasn't working, so I had to continue working, which meant I wasn't going to be well suited to the sprint, which is why I needed to try to leave him behind. And right away, that little bit of yellow bar with the 80 flat rating today would have been enough if he was down on the legs, but he wasn't. And I was. But hey, second place, another great result. We've gotten 3 straight podiums over the last 3 races without the wins, but we had 3 wins out of 4 before that. So we are finishing the season very, very strong here with 6 out of the last 7 results being a podium or a win. 100 meters. 100 meters in this scale of things, because there's your 1K banner. 48-kilometer chrono donations here to wrap up our season. 80's probably much too hard for that one, but we end up with another +5 today, and this time the expected was +3, so actually we do get a bit of a bonus this time, minimum +2 on our draw, which helps considering last episode we had a couple big negatives. We had -6 over a couple days there, and a couple early climbs, and we've got a 70 on the mountain for that part. We've got a 72 on the time trial today, which is not a good rating, but with good stamina and the climbing being tolerable, we might do okay. The weird thing is the team thinks that I'm good enough to get into the top 15 in this, which I'm not sure why they would think that is possible with a 65 time trial. We're already having to now back off to the 72 as we've gotten through those couple of climbing sectors. 36K to go. And 72 still looks to be a little too hard. 71 is making up that ground we need. Marcelin at 223 down is 8th place, so huge gaps between the riders. At 71 now making up the ground we need so we can push back up to a 72. During our effort well, 72 seems to be holding just fine. In fact, we have a tiny bit extra, but there's a little uphill sector right here. We'll push 73 through it. And we might be able to keep that, not 74. We might be able to keep that 73 going. We'll slow things down here for the last 9K. We are coming up on passing riders, so that is a sign that we have measured things well, but we are starting to get a little bit deep with that last kind of little uphill swing that we just had, but you get around that corner, it's going to start to go downhill the rest of the way to the finish line. 4K to go, just a little bit of yellow bar left. It's not going to last much longer, so the red bar is going to have to kind of carry us through. 2K, now 1K. Now we can push for the line and attack. 9th place, minute 46 down, but that's still very much in the mix. You have 4 guys at the top that I think their times could hold up for a top 15. Then after that, you're falling off. So we're not far away. I think we might have a top 25. I'm not a time trialist, so I think that's a pretty solid time. 10th for now, but it's not going to hold up. Even with the +5, even with time and things, I mean, we used our last ounce of energy as we were attacking the line for that one more second, but yeah, weird objective to have a top 15 for somebody who has a 65 time trial rating, because even with a +5, I don't think I'm gonna crack +5 and not a foot wrong. I don't think I'm gonna crack top 15. Already down to 14th now. Highest on the team should be good enough for a top 25, maybe a top 20. There's still quite a few riders out there. Stefan Kung takes the win, and I do just stay inside the top 25. I believe I was 24th, maybe 25th, depending on what happened with the last rider. For me, that's a good result for the team. Apparently, they thought I could do more. Team rankings for the coming season. UNOX, top Continental Pro team come next year. Arceus Amsic, Eolo, Cofidis, and Total Energy is dropping down a little bit in our placement. World Tour, all the same teams. No changes again. So this is going to be, second, third year in a row with no change at the top. In the World Tour, Pogacar, Roglic, the top 2 scorers and well ahead of Enric Mas. And after a slow start to the season, I do wind up as the second best rider in the Continental Division. The only Total Energies in the top 18 at all, top 25, top Pierre Latour, 40th is the next highest. That was on a limited schedule. That was on a limited schedule that really did not suit me for most of the year. We really only had a few races that suited us, but at the end of the season, I came on really strong with a number of good performances and drastically raised my profile all the way up to a comfortable second, with Pen Oliver as a comfortable winner of that title. And overall, super prestige, over 1,000 points, as the races that we scored in weren't the tiniest ones. They were okay, in terms of size, and we get a top 25 this year. 7 wins, enough to get into the top 20. It's still a bit short of where we would want to be. Pen Oliver with 28 wins, but very, very small races. No wonder they had what they had for a score. Molinar had 27 too, but far less points. But we're looking at somebody who was, from the look of things, it was more like youth races that they were dominating. Maybe. As a team, 4th best in Continental. And 16th best overall, right behind UNOX, so neck and neck. And we're going to continue pushing on for another year. Team victories, just 11. I had 7 out of the 11 victories that the team came up with this year. So a little surprising on that part. Into December, and we have leveled up with the turn of the month. This one is improvement of attributes or evolution of potential. Next off, we will get access to World Tour races. So the Grand Tours and the majors. So that's going to be a huge step for us, as our team obviously does qualify for some of those, and we're very much one of the best riders of the team at this point, especially, hopefully anyway, after this particular level up. Bit of a peculiar choice for me, but my hands have been really tied. I looked over the evolution of potential side, and I'm not as punchy as I should be. I thought that was the primary, and I thought Classics was the secondary that I had picked, but maybe it was. I suppose we are a Classics puncher, so we did pick Classics first. You can see the cobbles could easily get to the 85. The acceleration is going to easily get to the 85. I'm going to be a much better sprinter than I am a puncher. So the Classic setup is definitely there. Adding the punchiness to it is definitely taking a bit of work, because these levels really don't provide adequate. I mean, here we are looking at nothing for mountain and hills. Sprinter, though, with a plus 10, is providing the best, especially with 5 key points, 6, 7 key points for those 10. We're looking at a plus 1 in cobble, plus 2 in sprint, starting to get me, that much better at sprinting. One of these days, it looks like I'm going to be as good of a sprinter, if not puncher. And, we're almost there now. Plus the acceleration. Going in reverse order here a bit, back through the calendar, it's much better than what we had last year. For one thing, a lot of classics, and not just stage races that are not suited to me, where they're expecting me to work for the team. It's quite clear that there's going to be some opportunities to be a leader. We have some occasions here where there are sprint races with cobbled sectors, even if it's only a little bit. But that's a race that I could be the leader at. July is wide open, so if we do get an invite to the Tour de France, I might actually attend by that point, but I've got one more level to be unlocked for that, and then we'll see if the team gets in. Not a fan of going to the Tour de Suisse this year, but I could try for the King of the Mountains, or points classification, I suppose. Dunkirk's an option. Flèche Wallonne, Amstel Gold, Miguel Indurain, Dorf Vlaanderen, and Cadell Evans. So not too many World Tour races on the calendar at this point, but we'll see how the team does and getting invites as we go along, and how many they add into my calendar as we go through. Either way, I only had a few Classics days on the calendar last year. It was mostly 4 stage races where I was supporting somebody else until the end of the season. First off, kind of forced our way a couple times to get their attention and show that we were capable of something, but more so level up a little bit, get good enough to be picked properly as leader. So back half of last season hopefully was that turning point, and we should be even better now. I have not looked yet to see where I fit into the scheme of things. It's January the 1st. Let's find out. Okay, so we have done it. We are now the best rider at the team. We have moved to the top. We are the first 5-star guy that the team has. Let's see if we can, now that we're there, hang on to that, not see, because we do have some young talented guys here on the team that are, just behind. But Latour fallen off a bit. Reichenbach is here and not looking so great anymore. Viermos. And then we've got some young talented riders otherwise. And Sagan is no longer here, no longer on the team. Daniel Oss is still here. You guys at the bottom, only one young rider that I do not know anything about. We have just a little bit, but mostly known quantities on the team. So that's going to help in the comparison part that we're going to do now, which I am now second best on the flat. The road, bottom third in mountain. Still definitely a weakness. I was hoping to get it into the low 70s, and I'm going to have a hard time doing that from what I've seen with the level ups. Same with my hills rating. I mean, I'm having a hard time getting any points in hills. I'm going to have no choice. I'm going to have to take a climber or puncher level up next time to get something in these, even though the overall point haul is probably going to be down as a result. But we desperately need that if I'm going to continue on in something other than just classics where the game is trying to push me. If I want to dual specialize, which of course I've already put something into that, haven't I, to dual specialize, just not in the direction we thought it would be. Time trialing, not good for this team. I'm middle of the road, a little bit higher end prologue. Already our top cobbled rider by far. That's going to give me easy leadership status on anything cobbled. So if we happen to get an invite to a couple key races, that I'll be the leader for those. As a sprinter, we don't have a dominant team, but we have a couple guys that are a little bit better than me, but the acceleration part, I'm on top by some margin. So I can get that sprint roll semi-frequently, I think, with this team. Downhill, I was hoping to have this into the 70s by now because I've often taken advantage of that in this game. I've won a lot of downhill kind of races, getting off the front, living dangerous. Barrador doesn't matter anyway. Stamina, I'm now equal on top with Reichenbach. That's another thing that's going to help us out with a lot of races this year. Resistance is getting there, and the recovery factor, I'm still not your stage racer. No, not at all. So the team objectives for me are looking a bit messy. From March, we are one after another. Actually, is it starting with Saxo? Okay, that's not as bad. So starting with Saxo Bank. No, Milano San Remo. Okay, it's just not on the calendar yet. Milano San Remo, late March, and then all the way till the 10th of April. That's a bit of a stretch, but I do get that, month long. If you time that just right, we can be in peak shape for all of those races. Can. And then have it fall off after, which means Trobro Leon. It's not going to be a good time to have another objective. You got to push that back to maybe like German national championships. So let's intervene and change that one. All right, so 1 subtraction, 2 addition to the objectives that the team has set for me. I think I'm fairly happy with this one. This might be a stretch, might be too long, but we'll give it a shot. 6 invites obtained already here in the middle of January. Strade Bianche, Tour de France, Paris-Roubaix, Paris-Nice, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, and Flèche Wallonne. That is a huge addition, as 4 to 5 of those, or at least a few of those, will greatly suit me. To save myself a little bit of fatigue, I set my preseason training level to the 80 to 90% range. A month in, or at least penultimate day of January, we have the Cadell Evans Great Ocean Road Race. Thought we'd easily get to 90% by now. We didn't. So I actually kind of lucked out here with just 85% fitness level. We literally started with the minimum that you could. And then also started with not in a team leader type role anytime I'm racing except for the mountains. No, on a sprint stage such as this one, I am still in a support role. I've done that. I've maximized that. It's eaten into my max energy a little bit, so it's going to make the finish a little harder. And of course, without a lead out, that's going to make it significantly harder. But I think we're still on for a top 15 at least. As we approach the end on this one, we're going to start speeding up to hold our position near the front. Otherwise, we will begin to drift. One rider left, and he's been caught. That was Vanderpool. Final climb of the day. A little more undulation left, but that was the final actual climb. Not that it was much of one. Here comes the rest of that undulation now. 7.5K to go, and you can see we're going backwards with the speed through there. 119 in the peloton, but a nice wide road. 5K to go. We'll gel up. I still have that red bar for that final sprint. I don't have a whole lot of yellow bar left, and with 3.5, 4K to go, it's time to get forward because I'm not going to win a sprint from this far back. 2.5K, 99 from here. Sneaking just in case. 1.8. It's too far back, but we're going to have to make a move to have any chance of cracking the top 15 in this one. Over that last little climb gets me a little more headway on some of these guys, gaining a little ground. Mose takes the win. Caleb Ewan, disappointing for him to lose in his home race and come so close. And I do miss out on the top 10 today, but it is a top 20. Ahead of Sagan, who is now with Jumbo Visma. 16th, Lacroix, who was the leader for today, does get a top 10. I should get some credit for that top 10 at least. A few extra points. Alright folks, well, we are into the new season. I'm now a 5-star talent. I'm going to be the leader more often than not. Today was not that day, but I'll at least get a little bit of XP as we continue on. And we are a single level away from opening up everything except the Tour de France, I think. So we will have some more races on our calendar, but will the team automatically put me in them? Not necessarily. You can probably be rest assured that this will be my last season in Continental Pro. We will be in a World Tour team next year. Not this team, though, as the highest one offering is where we will be headed. And sky's the limit on that. I wouldn't be surprised if all or most World Tour teams will come in with an offer next year based on how much we have leveled up since, well, April. And again, April's not that far away. That's going to do it for this episode, though. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.